Imagine mom and dad live in a state that bans gender interventions. They have a son who is displaying really feminine attributes. He likes pink dolls and is attracted to boys. Dad doesn't want to have a gay kid, so he brings him to California to trans the gay away, the ultimate conversion therapy. Courts in California must take jurisdiction over any child who makes her way to California, regardless if the parents are here, according to this bill. Courts can roll that child into California's foster care so that she can control her own gender interventions. The number of homeless kids, Senator Wiener, will continue to balloon. Think of the anguish of those parents who have to then come to California to fight for the custody of their children here in the state of California, as California takes custody and jurisdiction over those children. Vote no on SB 107.
So you can see how this person is talking about this 107 thing. That means, literally, as a parent, you don't have any power. Literally, you don't. You don't. They can just take your kid as an immigrant, and so suddenly, they're the father. It's not only the schools that educate your kids with such information and give them such power. No, it happens everywhere. But now they want to make it also possible that if you're in a country where it's not possible, they're like, here's a safe haven. You can just come over here and we will do anything you want without the parents' consent.
My name is Chloe Cole, and I am a 17-year-old detransitioner from the Central Valley. I was medically transitioned from ages 13 to 16. My parents took me to a therapist who affirmed my male identity, and the therapist did not care about causality or encourage me to learn to be comfortable in my body. He brushed off my parents' concerns about the efficacy of hormones, puberty blockers, and surgeries. My parents were given the threat of suicide as a reason to move me forward in my transition. My endocrinologist, after 2 to 3 appointments, put me on puberty blockers and injectable testosterone. At age 15, I asked to remove my breasts. My therapist continued to affirm my transition. I attended a top surgery class that was filled with around 12 girls that thought they were men. Most were my age or younger. None of us were going to be men. We were fleeing from the uncomfortable feeling of becoming women. I was unknowingly physically cutting off my true self from my body, irreversibly and painfully. Our trans identities were not questioned. I went through with surgery. Despite having therapists and attending the top surgery class, I really didn't understand all of the ramifications of any of the medical decisions I was making. I wasn't capable of understanding, and it was downplayed consistently. My parents, on the other hand, were pressured to continue my so-called gender journey with a suicide threat. I will never be able to breastfeed a child. I have blood clots in my urine. I am unable to fully empty my bladder. I do not yet know if I am capable of carrying a child to full term. In fact, even the doctors who put me on puberty blockers and testosterone do not know. SB 107 is circumventing states' laws that have needed safeguards in place so my story is not repeated. Children cannot consent. Vote no on SB 107.
Thank you.
Was Brian, now Brianna, and Brianna wants to be Brian again. When he was a he felt gay. Papa was a gangster guy, from Vietnam War and everything. But Papa wasn't against gays. Papa household was against gay, so he never had the chat with Papa. Okay, so he made his own opinion. Thought I was gay, bada beam, bada boom, went to school, became something of a sociology expert.
Pause.
We already know that's a bad choice. Because once we start with sociology, you're gonna hear everything, bada beam, bada boom, possibility, da-da-da, talk. You disconnect from reality. He was addicted to prawn, plagan, watching prom, and you're gonna have the accidental thing that you're gonna watch, whoa, what the heck was that? That's a transgender woman? That looked like a woman. I got confused. It even happens to hetero.
Yeah.
What the heck is this? What's that hanging? And that something clicks weird in the brain. It happens everywhere. I see it too much for it to be a random anecdotal thing. You never know when it will happen. So even gays fall in this trap. But this gay saw it and was like, yo, I actually feel more feminine, so maybe I can do that. Taking hormones and everything, bada beam, bada boom. As a closeted teen, Wagner began dabbling in drugs, and by the time he transferred from junior college to the University of La Verne in California to study sociology at age 20, he said he was regularly using marijuana, ecstasy, Adderall, and cocaine that he got from friends and dealers at school. He said that he began experiencing withdrawal, which doesn't make any sense. Of course it's gonna happen. Was staying up for days on end and even contemplated suicide. How can you take so much drug that you can't sleep and you talk about suicide and suddenly you have woman issue and you put it together and the doctor says transgender? Of course you can make that logic with anybody that's going through withdrawal. Desperate for a lifeline, in early 2012, he started searching for information about transgender movement on YouTube and found a clinical social worker based in Los Angeles who made videos about trans people. He made an appointment to see her. During this first in-person session, he said she immediately told him he could be transgender. I just thought maybe I had some sort of weird fetish, Wagner said, but I went to go see this therapist and she told me I'm really a woman trapped in a man's body and all my other problems were because I was transgender. After just a couple of therapy sessions, the therapist gave Wagner, then 22, a referral letter to see a doctor in Hollywood who wrote him a prescription for estrogen on his first visit. He said, this therapist knew I was addicted to the drugs, she knew I had severe depression, but didn't want to go over on any of that. It was just about hormones.
But wait! There's more!
He was rewarded socially for transitioning to a woman at college, where he remained a student until he was 25. At my college, I was basically like a minor celebrity for being trans, Wagner said. I got a lot of praises and people suddenly wanted to be my friend. And what does that do to a kid? If that is so powerful with a teenager, don't you think it would be powerful with a kid? Don't you see the indoctrination? Don't you see? What was that word again that I keep using that we are doing these, what was it again? It was a powerful word. I don't remember. Conversion therapy! But in his personal life, Wagner was struggling. Transition made all my problems worse, he said. I got into even harder drugs, including heroin. After graduating from college, he went to rehab 4 times before finally getting sober and holding down a steady job, which he declined to disclose out of concerns he will be targeted by gender activist community. After he started tuning out woke politics beliefs on social media and listening to contrarian figures like Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan, Wagner said he realized he no longer wanted to be Brianna. Once I got off the drugs and got a real job, not that stupid social stuff, I just had a clear head and started feeling a new gender dysphoria all over again, he said. I was looking at myself in the mirror and looking at my childhood photos as a little boy and started thinking, what have I done? So in February, Wagner went back to living as a man after spending a third of his life as a woman. He cut off his hair, stopped hormone therapy, and changed his name back. Fortunately, he never got surgery compared to the other girl in the video, but said he suffers from painful urination as a man or a woman, it happens, both said it, and an inflamed pelvic area due to estrogen treatment and is being monitored for osteoporosis, a known side effect of hormone therapy. Even with puberty blockers, let's just say your bones get weak like an old lady. You might have glass bone in the future. Yeah, that's your future. But then again, we don't know, right? So we need to risk it for the happiness of these kids. Yeah, keep giving them hormone therapy or puberty blockers like Lupron, which they normally give. Yeah, there's people with this. And you know what happens then? You don't have the desire to be with the person anymore because you want to stop this, right? But the problem is if you don't have any desire, why the heck are you transitioning to be a woman or a man? For love, right? But now you don't have the desire. No, people that don't have a desire, they can keep the partner. So you're alone anyway. So the fact that you remove it, I hope you have a functional family. Do you see where I'm going? So you don't snip yourself. You see where I'm going. You're digging a hole without leaving a rope so you can climb out. There is no plan B. You need to think this through. In retrospect, Wagner blames medical professionals for glossing over the other personal crises he was experiencing, like internalized homophobia and drug addiction. My therapist really was an activist who also happened to be a psychologist, he said. I probably should have been put in a psychiatric hospital, not given estrogen. I just needed someone to listen to me. But this woman had me go and change my body chemistry and my whole life. So I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. I'm really worried for people transitioning in a specific way. You know why? Because by the logic that they're living, I should be transgender. Many of my friends should be transgender. Even my kid in the possible future might want to be transgender. But I need the info, the knowledge to speak in a nice, correct, informed way so people don't come at me like, you're bigoted. We're gonna do with your son whatever we want. I don't want it. I would flip. I don't know how I would react for my kids. I would do anything. I spend so much time with them, making them feel confident with the disadvantage that they were born with. Just like me, without an eye. And like, share, the usual, and see you guys next time. Peace.